Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today presented by Metrotex Association of Realtors. We're going to be speaking about adaptability in real estate in the changing world. My name is Christine Burke, and I'm the 2021 chair of the Metrotex Leadership Program Alumni Committee. Today, our panel consists of three of the top and most respected professionals in our industry to discuss many of the hot topics that we are all aware of and how they factor into adapting to our current climate and what the future may hold for our industry. Russell Berry is a broker associate and team lead of the Foundation Realty Group at Coldwell Banker Apex Realtors in Dallas. He is the 2022 Texas Realtors Chairman of the Board. Russell is also on the NAR Board of Directors and sits on the NAR MLS Issues and Policy Committee and is a graduate of TRLP Class 16. Ashley Gentry is the manager and realtor for Red Branch Realty in Plano. She is the 2022 Secretary Treasurer for Metrotex Association of Realtors and is a graduate of TRLP Class 28. Brenda Thompson is the CEO, managing broker, and owner of HomeSmart Stars in Plano. She is currently on the board of directors at Metrotex, and she's a graduate of TRLP Class 24. We thank all three of you for taking the time to be with us this morning. And so without any further ado, I would like to hand it off to our moderator, Ashley Gentry. Ashley, take it away.
Thank you, Christine. And I'm going to poke at Christine a little bit because at spokesperson training during leadership, I'm pretty sure she had a mild panic attack, but she does so beautifully at it. So Christine, it was phenomenal. You can introduce us anytime. But I always love to be able to give back to our Texas Realtor Leadership Program. And I know we're all fellow graduates and alumni here. And this has been, a springboard for me and my journey here now in leadership. But Brenda and Russell, you guys are not new to our alumni committee. So Russell, what year did you actually do leadership?
So I graduated in the class number 16, and I think that was year 2007. But I was the chairman of the leadership program for Metrotex in class 22, which was probably, somebody help me out, maybe 2015 or 14, okay, something like that.
Awesome. And then what about you, Brenda?
Oh gosh, I was trying to remember what year. So I was part of Hardcore 24, so class 24 here at Metrotex. And I want to say that was around 15 or 16, something like that too. And, we have a lot of the Hardcore 24 people in Metrotex leadership and in state and national leadership as well. So and for all of us, for all of our classes. So it's been a great learning experience for each of us. And as we grow into other positions within the industry and within service to the industry too.
Brenda, I love that word, service to the industry. And that's partially what we're going to talk about today a little bit. Adaptability. What are we all doing to pivot? What are we doing to encourage our peers, to mentor, to help our consumers and advocate for them? And whether you have a desire to continue on in the leadership track or not. I mean, gosh, I don't know about you, but just the personal enrichment I got from being in leadership has been absolutely amazing. I always tell the story that I am a quite domineering individual, but I say that in a lovely way because, Brenda, as women, sometimes people see strong women as it's a negative. And my whole life was trying to figure out that nice little in between of, I want to be strong, I want to be independent, but I don't want to come overbearing. And it was just so neat to see how my peers viewed me in a leadership setting where iron was supposed to sharpen iron. And that was my greatest asset. And so to be able to sit there and turn around and take that on and use it and finally dump all that negative self-talk, I think that was probably one of the best takeaways from my leadership experience was finally being able to be genuine to who I was. And in turn, it's blessed my real estate business. And I bet you guys can say the same. So let's jump off and just talk to, some of the things that we're seeing. The last couple of years in real estate's been a little weird. That sadistic laugh comes out when I just think about it. But Russell, for you, you've gone from management back into production. And so you've been on both sides, helping agents navigate this crazy world and then jumping in head first as well. What are some things that you've really noticed the past couple of years that's been different from the beginning of your real estate career?
Well, I will also give a big nod to TRLP because I attribute my experience at TRLP for the position that I'm in right now. So I know that that's making it very, very simple, but if I wouldn't have gone through this program, I would not be the chairman of Texas Realtors right now. So Let's just, I want to throw that out there and give props where they're due and everything. But what I'm seeing in the industry now, and we've been talking about this a little bit, is I feel agents truly have to work together now. It is something that I've never seen in my 20 plus years in the business, that agents are really having to either on the buyer side or the seller side, work with the other agent and make sure they get it across the finish line. Now, there's still some issues out there and there's still some things that are, going on where we don't get those deals closed. But it seems to me that agents are really working for a win-win situation. I also think that agents are working harder than they ever have. People will say, oh, I just stuck a sign in the yard and I sold the house. You and I and everybody on this call knows that that's not what happens. You're doing spreadsheets. You're getting the first offer accepted and doing a backup offer. You're holding hands all the way to the finish line, maybe getting that thing closed, maybe not getting it closed very quickly. I mean, it is a madhouse out there and we're all just working together. So I think that's one of the things that I've seen has been a little bit of a shift. Is it's not all about me and it's not an adversarial relationship. It's more of a working together type thing.
I love that, Russell. And Brenda, I want to throw something out there, kind of a twist on that too. We've talked about disruption in our marketplace, evolution of different brokerage models. You're with Home Smarts, which is, that's evolution itself, technology, a different type of way you guys are structured on that end. That's not necessarily the main disruptor we generally hear when people are naysaying. But what does that look like in that what Russell was saying and trying to be cooperative at the same time, we have this whole other subsect of people that are entering into the real estate industry, not in the same capacity as we did maybe as practitioners, but they're here to stay and they're a big part of our business. So how do you and your office and your agents deal with disruption? And what do you feel, is it really disruptive after all?
And it's funny because this talk is talking about adaptability, and that's exactly it. We have to adapt, and we have to adapt to, just like Russell was saying, and that boils down to communication. We're communicating with the other side, no matter who's on the other side or what type of a model that other side is. I think we're relying more and more on technology, and that's great. I am all for automation everywhere you can find automation. But I'm also seeing that whether we're dealing with the other agent to co-op a transaction, or whether we're dealing with our own clients, it's a combination of adapting that technology and automating everything you can, but also the personal interaction too. I'm finding that so we have some that are really truly taking full advantage of technology, and that's wonderful. And somewhere along the way, you still have to communicate. But I'm finding that we're having agents that are working with clients that have been home for a long time, and that's great. They've been able to adapt and be able to work from home, and yet some of them are a little bit nervous about getting back out there. So that's where we have to find the combination, and we have to adapt to where. I mean, I've been in the business for 20 years. The technology we have today didn't exist, hadn't even been thought of 20 years ago. So we've been able to take advantage of that automation and the technology. And yet at the same time, we're needing to now put together and combine technology with that personal interface and that personal interaction, because we're dealing with agents, brokers, clients who are missing some personal interaction. So that's one of the adaptability things that we need to do, is pull that together.
So I don't see that as disruption. I see that as
true.
People just not being able to evolve, and change is hard, and we get complacent sometimes. But with change comes awesome growth in your business as well. And I don't take technology and automation as it being sterile and taking the personal experience out. If there is something that is black and white that I can send to somebody and it can be automated in 20 seconds versus taking 2 hours out of my day, well, now I have an hour and 45 minutes left to actually interface with somebody in a personal capacity where I didn't have the ability to do before. Option checks stapled to the front of a contract. We don't have to do that anymore. And that could take half your day driving around town doing things like that. So if we use the technology to actually create more personal experiences, then it's a win-win there. We were talking about a statistic, Russell, that you shared in regards to the percentage of agents in the state and how long they've been in business. Would you share that with us?
Yeah, so it's really weird, the rapid growth that we've had recently. And I think that's due to the shift in what people are doing and working from home and seeing real estate going crazy. But I went and looked at these statistics, but half of our membership, and there's 150,000 realtors in the state of Texas, half of them have joined in the last 5 years. 70% of those people who are realtors right now have never been in a down cycle. So they've been in the business for less than 10 years. So what we were kind of talking about is that is an incredible opportunity for those of us who have been doing this business, maybe the way we did it 20 years ago, and now talking about adaptability. I kind of look at that as, we've kind of been adapting our entire careers. Well, in the past couple of years, it sped up really quickly because we've had to be at home. We've been in front of our computer. We're now looking at things that will help automate things that we do and everything. Well, these people that are coming into the business right now, they've never known the old way, the stapling the check to the contract. They only know to send the earnest money to the title company the way that they do it. So it's great for us old timers because now we're figuring out, hey, there are better and different ways for us to do things, and we better get on that train or else we're going to get left behind. But I completely agree with you that personal touch is really what separates us from a machine doing our job. And I think we'll always be the center of the transaction because when you're looking at a buy or a sell transaction, people want to know your expertise. People want to know who you are. They want to feel a connection with you, and they want to make sure that you have their best interest in mind. A machine can't do that. So that's the great thing about putting these things together is it's a win-win for the industry.
Well, and I agree with you there. And that's what it comes down to. I know some people get tired of it. They're like, I hate the term win-win. But that's what we're here to do. That's being a proper fiduciary. So many times people will sit there and say, oh my gosh, this buyer's agent isn't doing anything and that's not my job. Wrong. That is your job, because your job is to represent the seller to the best of your capabilities, get them to the finish line and advocate for them along the way. When did this become here's the flow chart. This is what you do. This is what I do. Let's make sure we don't bleed over. That's what I think is absolutely insane. And part of that's our problem. Part of that is our problem as tenured agents in the business, because we do feel like we've earned the right to say we were in a downturn market. We did work short sales and foreclosures and distressed properties and, when rates were so much higher and all of these other things. But that can be a positive where we can actually mentor the future generation of realtors, because I don't know about you, but I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. And if half the realtors have been in this business for 5 years or less, well, most likely they're going to be around for a little bit as well. So we've got to figure out how can they bring that fire in their belly. I think Roxy actually was talking about a luxury real estate class. And half the people or the majority of the people in there were licensed less than 2 years. And her point was they're fearless. They're just jumping in head first and trying to learn and wanting to educate themselves and see an ability to go into that marketplace, the luxury market. And they're going in head first. There's agents that do this 20 years that never enter into the luxury marketplace, right. So that fearlessness is actually something that I kind of admire. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's something I could do. And I hear this all the time. It's like, oh, well, these realtors they're getting licensed just because they want to make money. Well, I don't know about you, but I mean, I don't do this for free. I mean, I love what I do and I have a passion for it, but I still need to be able to put food on the table. So why do we demonize somebody saying, I think I can do well in real estate and therefore make a living. Maybe they don't have the same passion we do for helping individuals, but that's okay. That's a different driver. So that's something that I want to talk about for a few minutes, is why we demonize these younger generation of people getting into real estate because they're entrepreneurial by nature. Because both of you being managers and myself as well, don't we tell realtors that you're a marketer and an entrepreneur first?
Well, I'll tell you, Ashley, I love the fact that younger people are getting in the business. For so many years, it's been a second career, or it's been a fallback career or something like that. And it just shows you that we, the older folks, the seasoned agents, have done a really, really good job of showing people that this can be a sustainable career. Mm-hmm. And, I love when, they get in there because they show us what they can do. They modernize the business. They bring these things that we call, disruptors or adaptive, and really they provide value for what we're doing. And that's what something that we have to think about as realtors is, from this point on, our value proposition is the most important thing to our clients. Yes. They want to know what we can bring to the table. They want to know who we are. They want to know our experience. They want to know that we can use technology. They want to know that we can work with each other. They want to know that we can get that deal done through the finish line, because there are some people out there, or there are, some of us that skate by, and they see that and they understand that, if I'm going to be dealing with this very large transaction, I better have a professional who is a professional, who can show me they're a professional and show me their worth, or perhaps I won't pay them as much, or I won't, use their services, or I won't refer them to somebody. And that's what we've always built our business on, is referrals. So now is the time to show our value. And I think the younger folks that are coming in, and people that are coming in as their first career, are really showing us what they can bring to the table. And it's time for us to kind of look at those things and say, hey, this is good. This is what I want. This is what I don't want. I can put this together with the way I used to do business and make everything better. So we kind of have a responsibility to be able to work with them also.
You're so right on that, Russell, too, because we talk about people bringing in new technologies or new ways of doing things and that new fire in their bellies. And yet some of the more experienced agents, we have been through the downturn of the market. So we bring experience that will be valuable. We will hit that again. We will have another downturn, and being able to put together the things that the newer agents are bringing to us and our experience, there are going to be wonderful new ways for us to be able to survive the downturn in the market, and we can do it together. And it's about bringing those things together and being able to get through it. And we need to mentor them through how to get through the market, but we need to also be open to listening to the new ways that they have of managing it, and of being able to keep up with. Think about the foreclosure market. Those of us who went through the foreclosure market, oh my gosh, it was a flood of foreclosures, and how do you deal with them, and how do you get to see them all, and what do you need to do, and spreadsheets galore. I'm a spreadsheet person, so spreadsheets galore. But now we will better be able to automate some of that, and to be able to kind of have some of the things working in the background for us.
Well, and it comes down to,
Ashley, you mentioned the fearless part of it. I love that, because sometimes I see a contract that maybe isn't exactly right. And that's fearless. Somebody will go out there and write a contract and put things in there and send it over and say, this is our best offer. And I'm like, oh, hold on a second.
You're like, wait a second, there's a lot of blanks. We can't have that.
Exactly.
Why is special provisions this long?
Yes, exactly. And the other part too is, we have so much to do with social media now. And I know when Brenda and I started, and Ashley, you too, social media wasn't even a thing. No. And so I am seeing them harness, not even Facebook, because I think Facebook is something for like the old people like us, right? But they're harnessing Instagram and TikTok and things like that are brand new platforms for us to be able to get business. And again, they are fearless doing things. Now, every once in a while, I have to pick up the phone and say, probably not the right thing to talk about on social media, or that contract isn't exactly like it should be. But that is part of our job as realtors, whether you've been in the business for a day or 20 days or 20 years. You need to know that your job is really to make sure that you're not getting the other person in trouble, because all of us know, and I know that you guys have been through depositions and lawsuits too. When somebody's sued, we're all sued. We're
100%.
all in that mix there. So we've got to be looking at those things and keeping these people on the straight and narrow. And it really does a lot for our profession when we help each other, and if we're out there criticizing people and tearing people down and getting people to do the wrong thing, they look at us all like you guys are a bunch of, hacks and you shouldn't be doing this. So it really falls on us to make sure that those fearless people understand the boundaries of being fearless, but we all got to work together and make it happen. So,
and we can help each other without interrupting anything to our fiduciary responsibility to our client. In fact, I see it the other way, that the goal of everyone, the agents, the buyers, the sellers, the title company, the lender, everyone, the goal of everyone is to successfully get to closing. So if we're helping those fearless agents who may have missed something or accidentally made a mistake, then it is our job. It is our fiduciary responsibility to the client that we represent to help through that, to navigate through that. And yes, we're still negotiating for what's best for our client, but we're just making sure that it gets successfully to closing and everyone's happy.
We were talking about this when we were just all doing a run through the other day. And I was saying, I've got 4 deals right now, and all 4 of the agents on the other side are as green can be. And they're all approaching it very differently. One is like cowboy up, I'm not going to ask you any questions. I got this, no problem. I'm just going to ramrod. In fact, he texted me, we closed 2 days ago and the utility's already off. And he's like, can you ask the seller if he can keep the plumbing, the water on, because we'd like to do a couple of repairs. I'm like, it's already closed, but
they don't own the property anymore. They can't.
Check, no trade back. It's your house. But still very nice, and trying to encourage and walk them through. I had another deal where my client is the buyer, the listing agent is a young agent. It's selling his grandparents' house. I asked for the seller's disclosure multiple times because I didn't want him to realize that, hey, you got a baked in option period if you don't give me the seller's disclosure, because most even tenured agents don't realize that. And so I sat there and I asked him multiple times, and he just said, what, we just haven't gotten to it yet. It was a 1-year-old home. And I just told my client, understand this, we're not going to do anything to try to get the upper hand. It's multiple offers. I'm going to stop being a thorn in his side. We'll get the seller's disclosure if we get it and execute. And so lo and behold, we did it. And I told her, I said, we already asked for an option period, but somebody else could have sat there, not asked for an option period in their offer and executed and still had the unrestricted right to terminate based on the fact that they didn't have the seller's disclosure in the possession. And for me, that was teeing the expectation up with my buyer. Hey, he doesn't understand this. And at the same time, it's going to be okay, but here are your rights and here's how we're approaching this, but we're not going to be manipulative because this is a cooperative experience. And it's those type of conversations, understanding contracts, understanding the mentality of the process. Like you were talking about, Russell, it's like this. We're working so hard right now. And so we do have to think and be thoughtful of one another. I don't go into it. Yes, I'm putting armor on right now every time I'm writing an offer, but I don't go into it going, it's a duel to the finish, but that's what I feel like everybody looks at real estate right now, when in turn, we have more people moving to Texas than basically anywhere else in the United States, yet we're all freaked out that there's not enough business for realtors. Yeah. Which cracks me up. I'm like, it's still 20% of the realtors do 80% of the business. And we've got more people moving to Texas than ever before, but we have that scarcity mindset that you're going to take all my business away from me. And that's a big problem, I think, right now, what we're seeing in the industry, because people aren't evolving, they're not adapting to the changes, and they're scared, but it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, it is. And that's where we go back to being adaptable. We know we are in an inventory shortage. So what are you doing to get inventory? That's the way I looked at it. When this all started, I started calling my past clients. You mentioned I got back into real estate. Of course, when I decided to do that was the exact right time when we had no inventory. And, I'd been out of actual sales for 7 years. And I said, 2021, beginning of 2021, I'm going to get back into real estate. So I called all of my clients. I asked people if they wanted to sell. I told them the great thing about the market right now, and I created my own business, and I think that's one of the problems that that people who have been in the business for a while, they're relying on those referrals and those things to come to them. And they may reach out every once in a while, but they're not actively out there creating business. When you mentioned those fearless people, they are on the phone. They're calling, they're door knocking, they're sending postcards. Well, probably not postcards because they don't even know what a postcard is. But they're doing the things proactively to make business, and it's really showing us what we had to do when we got into business. That's the things that we actually started doing, was to actually call people and door knock and create our own business. And it's come full circle. And that's really what we have to think about is there's plenty of business out there. It's up to you to go get it.
Well,
and Russell,
go ahead, Brenda.
Russell, by doing that, you were doing exactly what you were doing it because you were re-entering the active salesperson role, but it's exactly what we tell new agents to do in reaching out to their sphere of influence, to everyone they know. Your sphere of influence in that regard just happened to be past clients. And so you had a little advantage there, but that's exactly what we tell new agents to do. One of the things I think that we need to do from an adaptability standpoint too, because Ashley, as you mentioned, everyone from all over the country is moving here. Mm-hmm. We need to be networking more with other realtors across the country. And
oh my gosh, absolutely.
The referral opportunities are there. We need to be networking with other agents across the country.
Well, and that brings us into association work, Russell.
I think something I know.
I think you know a little
and
bit
travel
about
for
that.
Association work. There you go.
Yes. Russell is currently in South Padre in a nice little hotel room. Are you going to give us a little view?
Yeah. No, there's just a wall outside my room. I had to change rooms from my ocean view room.
but that's a great segue, because I think so many times people think I can't be a high producing agent and be involved in association work. And that is absolutely not the case, because I can tell you right now, we've got 3 people on this screen that are high producing professionals in their lanes and very involved in the association work in different ways. So Russell, talk about a little bit about that. What TRLP got you kind of springboarded into where you are today, which is the chairman of Texas Realtors. But what does that look like from a local, state, and national level for anyone?
So I would always suggest to people to get involved on their local level first. On the state level, there is a little traveling, whether you're on a committee or you just want to be part of what we do. We don't always have it in the same place. In February's, we meet in Austin, but in September's, we meet all over the state. So it's easiest and it's best to get involved on your local level. Now, you had mentioned about getting involved in your business and things like that. I was lucky enough to put together a great team that helps me. When I have something going on, they jump right in and they do, everything that I need to do. And I also help them too. So when I'm home, like I said, I'm in South Padre Island right now, and next week is even worse traveling. But when I'm home, I actually try to make sure I'm available for them to do whatever they need to do. So I've set up that network to be able to take the slack for when I am actually at a meeting. But if you're doing things on the local level, you're typically giving maybe an hour or 2 hours a month that you can actually go and network. And what Brenda said about networking, it starts on the local level. That's how you meet these people that you will find that in another state or another country or whatever. You actually start on the local level. And I'll bring this all the way back to TRLP. When I first started in real estate, or when I first started at TRLP, I was in a class of 40 people. I know that's a gigantic amount of people, right?
Yeah.
But I did all of my business over in Tarrant County. And one of my classmates who worked in Dallas and only in Dallas and solely in Dallas and didn't go above 635 said, "Hey, Russell, do you by any chance know where Bedford is?" And I was like, "Absolutely. Well, I've got a referral for you." And that came from my TRLP class just across the county line. So referrals are, just what you know and where you are. So I think that is the best thing for me is I actually set up my network while I was going through TRLP, not even thinking that this position would come available. And when I did, another reason for me to get back into real estate sales was I knew I was going to be out of the office a lot. So I set up my team, I set up my systems, I have it on autopilot, I'm ready to go. And that's kind of how it's worked out for me.
I get asked this sometimes, even when I did TRLP, a couple of people said, why are you going to go hang out with a bunch of realtors and affiliates? How are they going to give you more business? And I said, you know what? I don't know, but I've seen some pretty amazing people go through this program and do some wonderful things afterwards. So I'm just going to take a chance. I had no preconceived notion of what I was going to get out of it. All I knew was I felt like I was on an island by myself. I'm in an independent brokerage. Even if you're in a big brokerage, I own my brokerage. I had, a lot of agents, all of those things, but real estate can feel very isolating sometimes. And so for me, I just knew I needed something. I needed to fill my cup. I wanted it to be real estate based. I wanted to work in my business. And so I took the leap. And I got to tell you, I have some of my best personal friends and best professional friends from doing TRLP, and not just my class. Even though heavyweight 28 is absolutely amazing. Thank you, Christine Burke. I think Randy Gregory is on here. But I, for me, it was something that, like I told you, gave me my voice, found my footing. But sometimes farm and ranch, I can pick up the phone and call one of my TRLP alumni and say, okay, I've got this client, everything's going great, but I've got this conundrum, and this is something I haven't done before. Commercial, Gary Nordling, who is Mr. Builder Extraordinaire and a phenomenal instructor. And if I get stuck on a contract, he's who I call. So I have all of these people, and then sometimes you just want to commiserate and crawl up into a ball in a corner with a glass of Chardonnay. And I've got those people too, because our families sometimes go, enough. I don't want to hear about real estate anymore. But it's so cathartic to be able to break bread with your friends and your colleagues. And so what I have found was a resurgence of being able to say, I love what I do. And sometimes it's rough, but I've got now this amazing support system that I never knew I needed. And I can do this for another 30, 40 years without batting an eye, because I have my team.
So Ashley, I'll add something to that. Every affiliate that I use is from the leadership program. My lender, my home warranty, my inspector, because again, this is our community, this is our family, and I want to give out that business and guarantee you when something goes wrong and Russell Berry calls one of the affiliates that I use, they answer the phone. They take care of it. They want my business, and they know what I went through to be in leadership. So even though they weren't all in my class, it's a shared bond that we that we're out there working together and making sure that the transaction from their part, which sometimes I have to worry about the affiliate part of whatever I do, I get to say, hey, I've got a built-in Rolodex of people that I use from the leadership program that I know are quality people that stick to it, that have been through the same program that I am, that are involved, and that will take my call. So it's great all around, not only for my classmates that are realtors, but for my classmates that are affiliates too.
I do need to say something real quick because I've got Cowboys on my brain. So it's actually Richard Gregory, who is my fellow heavyweight 28 class member, not Randy Gregory, but I'm really excited for Randy Gregory to come back to the Dallas Cowboys lineup. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Richard, I love you. If you're still on, I apologize. But, ultimately, I think this is the sentiment. Anytime we all get together from a TRLP perspective, these are the things that kind of come out of it. Something's going on right now, though, just in the world. And there's a lot going on in the world. We don't have enough time to talk about it all. But on a level where I feel like it's kind of hitting all of us with shopping and other things, has anybody noticed some Amazon glitches here recently?
Just a couple this week. Yeah.
So Ashley, I was in the airport in Austin on Wednesday. So what's today? Friday. So I was going home actually for a actual day at home, and I didn't realize that Southwest Airlines uses Amazon Web Services,
AWS.
So we were sitting there, and after about an hour, we noticed our plane hadn't even loaded or anything. And so somebody in the airport says, "Did you guys notice that none of these planes have taken off in an hour?" Well, oblivious to us, we had no clue what was going on. So 3 hours later, our plane boards, and not that my Amazon packages were late, but I was the actual package that was late because of Amazon. So
I personally have had, I mean, it's probably been every other package right now where it's late. And again, I get it. Those are good problems to have when that's like your Achilles heel for the day. But at the same time, we've grown accustomed to clicking a button and our packages being here within 24 to 48 hours without, without any margin of error. And right now what we're seeing is there's some kink in the armor and for multiple reasons. But for me, that's something that keeps on resonating because we don't care about small businesses a lot. We don't care about shopping locally. We don't do all these other things, even though we say we do, because, oh, it's just easy. We're busy. We're going to go on. We're going to click on Amazon and we're going to have it sitting at our door.
Convenience.
Convenience. Yet we demonize clients or the consumer who says, I just want convenience, even though I might get a better deal, better service. I want to support an actual person versus a large conglomerate. I need to remove the friction from my day because I'm exhausted and I don't have anything left. But then we sit there and you go, how dare you, Mr. Consumer? How dare you want to make your life easier for you right now? You should use me. Don't you see Russell Berry's head on a billboard? Why don't you want to use me as your realtor? But that's where our ego gets in the way. And I think whether it's real estate or any other high pressure sales job, we can get very inflated of ourselves and forget, reverse engineer, why is this happening in the first place? And that goes back to that, what we perceive as disruption, which is actually just evolution of what the consumer is asking for. And that's to remove friction from the real estate process, to put time back in their day. So I want to take a few minutes and guys, also feel free to type questions or comments in the chat and we will address those. So if you have something that you want to chime in, we'd love to hear it. But I want to talk about shifting the mindset from disruptor to, just a new way of adapting these skill sets or technology platforms into our business. So Brenda, let's start with you. Thinking more about that, removing friction. Let's play a game. What's something that iBuyers, for one, that's the one that we all talk about. What's something that you think they do well? Why are they catching steam?
Some of the things that they do well, they respond probably mostly automated, but they respond immediately to inquiries. And guys, I get it. I like my sleep as well as anyone else. I like my off time as well as anyone else. But if we want to be able to match that, compete with that, overcome that, we need to make sure that we are making it easy to reach us and that we are responsive to that. So some things. There are tools out there that can help us with some automated valuation models. We need to look into those things and consider adding that to our business. We need to, and this is a big one, and I think the AWS glitches this week add to the reason for this. We need to invest in technology. And we need to have iPads. We need to have laptops. We've been on Zoom for 2 years. So hopefully everyone has good video and audio equipment now, but we need to invest in that. And I will tell you, I have friends in the IT industry and their businesses were impacted this week with the AWS issues. Yeah. Invest in backup systems. And I know that's not about iBuyers, but that's what I'm harping on at the moment is invest in backup systems so that if you go down, you are right there up and running again. And it's not only about transaction management software, which I love too. It's about your whole system. Whether it's in there, I think Dropbox has something now. I think, I know Carbonite is out there. I think Google has something now too, but invest in something that all those little documents that you save on your desktop, because we all do it. We all like to think that we keep everything in the cloud, but we all save a bunch of things on our desktop too. Make sure that you have those things that are automatically being backed up for you. You will hurt if you realize that something has happened there.
Well, amen to that. Kind of goes into being prepared.
Being prepared and have multiple So Russell, you're doing a lot of presentations right now. So, have it on your laptop, have it ready to go, but also have it on a thumb drive, maybe have it printed out. You never know when technology is not going to work. So you need to be prepared and have backups to your own backups.
Have that. Yeah, exactly. So I was telling them before you all got on as an audience, but today I knew I was doing this. So I got up early, I checked my internet, I got everything going, I had everything set up. This is like 2 hours ago. I had all of this stuff ready, and then the internet went down. So I had my phone ready, and the internet wasn't working on my phone. So I went to the hotel. They figured out what was going on. I had my internet, my iPad, and my computer all ready for this event, just in case something went down. But that's what you have to do in your business. You have to be prepared in case they ask you this. If they want, excuse me, if they want a spread on a digital platform or whatever it is, you really have to be prepared for whatever they want, whatever they've seen, whatever they are experiencing. And you talked about iBuyers too. What I think iBuyers do best, another great thing, is showings. If somebody wants to see a property, they get to see it right then and there. How many times do we say, well, we'll get to you on Friday or next week, or why don't you drive by the property? That's not what your clients want. Your clients want you to be ready, willing, and able to show that house when they're ready, willing, and able to see that house. Open houses, same thing. Remember when we didn't do open houses? I mean, I never do open houses. Now you better be doing an open house, because that is when you get the most buyers through your listing. I mean, that's an easy way for an agent to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to open this house for 2 days on the weekend, and then we'll have whatever offers we need, and we can go from there. But if you're not doing open houses, your clients are expecting you to do open houses now. So those are the things, along with being prepared, you've got to be able to work at the speed of light. And you said it best, that we love our downtime and we like to make these boxes and parameters about what we do. But guess what? iBuyers don't do that. And people who are working through the cloud or working through these technology issues, they have automation that are answering their text messages at 2 o'clock in the morning, or they're automated sending out things to their clients, or their CRM is automated. All that stuff makes you look like you are working 24 hours, which I hate to say, we are now working 24 hours.
Yeah.
And there are tools out there for all of us.
Yeah.
There are those tools out there for all of us. So it's not something that iBuyers have cornered the market on. And we can get CRMs that have the automation built in, that have the AI built in, so that there are some automated things going back. What iBuyers do really, really well too is old term net sheets. They do a fabulous job of letting that client know exactly what their costs are going to be all the way through the process. And I mean, I know myself included, we kind of got away from doing net sheets for a little while. And part of it was we didn't want to be making promises that we didn't have so much control over. We don't know exactly what, we know what title costs are going to be, but, we didn't know exactly what repair costs would be. We became afraid to commit to $500 for repairs or $450 for a survey when those weren't our costs. So we used that as our excuse to get away from it. But iBuyers are excellent about preparing very, very detailed net sheets and letting that consumer know what their costs are going to be.
And Brendan, that's what I was going to chime in at, is proper expectations.
Yes.
And that is where, and a lot of people think iBuyers are generally used by a younger population because they like automation. It's not. It's actually the majority of the people that like to utilize. And by the way, if people don't realize what iBuyer stands, it's an instant buyer, is the older generation who don't want to deal with it anymore. They've gone through the home buying and selling process in years past. It is extremely stressful. They're okay with not maybe netting as much as using a realtor, because and they're at this stage of their life, time is money. So I want to spend less time doing this, and I'm okay that maybe my return isn't going to be as much. And those are things that we got to take into consideration. But those proper expectations of what can I really think that I'm going to walk away with? And like you said, Brenda, you can sit there and under promise and over deliver, problem is that people were doing the opposite. They're over promising and under delivering. And then they're like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. That's bitten me a couple of times. Well, maybe you need to sit there and say, hey, I'm going to work real hard to exceed these expectations, but I feel confident that this is at least a healthy expectation of what you can expect to walk away with. Those are having proper conversations. And again, nobody is saying work at 2 o'clock in the morning. But what we're saying is that you do have to show a sense of urgency. It's not an emergency, but we do have to show that there's urgency in our business models, that we care because these are people's homes. It's the difference in them having a place to sleep at night, their children to have a school to enroll in, transplants coming and feeling like they can start to assimilate to their new environments. And so we've got to do a better job of saying, no, I'm not going to work at 11 p.m. or answer your text message. But do you know, I tell my clients right away, if there's something that is super urgent and we needed to communicate later in the evening, I'm with you. But if it's something that can wait till the next morning, hey, feel free to text me or email me. Just don't be surprised, but I'll be with you first thing. And telling them my communication style so they don't feel insecure when I don't respond. Because that's the difference.
You're setting the expectations.
Setting the expectation all the way through. So
yes.
I think those are things that again, the iBuyer platforms and these online, real estate models have done well. There's clear and concise expectations that are set and met throughout the way. Russell?
And Ashley, I think one of the things, the pendulum swung really, really far when we didn't have this kind of competition where we really muddied the water with, we've got to do this and I've got to do this and I'm going to do this for you and this is the way it's going to be and I'm the professional and listen to me and whatever. What this has done to us, what's really happened is this has simplified our business to the ridiculous, to where we now have to go out there and say, you're absolutely right. We can get this done really quickly and it doesn't have to be all about this. But I think we have to take a look back and say, we do add value and we do have things to add to the transaction. It's just in a different way now because all of that fluff, all of that stuff that we put on top, they have taken it away. And they've shown people that there is a different way of doing business. And like you said, for some people, that is really great. Some people still need all the hand holding and all the fluff and everything. Sure. That's why we have to be adaptable and figure out which client we're dealing with at any given time of the day. Because if it's an iBuyer client and you start doing the fluff stuff, they will go somewhere else really quickly. And what value have you proved then?
So adaptability on the run too.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Well, this is, and I think, the last 2 years has been the great equalizer for a lot of businesses because it's stripped away all the like you said, the fluff and pomp and circumstance and everything else doesn't matter the same. We've got a couple of minutes left before, Russell, you need to go and go to another installation as yes. Your chairman duties allow you to. But those are the things that I think I want to impress upon everybody that's on here and that might watch this later is kind of think about that. If all things are equal and your business is stripped down to being a licensed realtor and having a database and now knowing what you know, what are some things, because one size does not fit all. And that's what we got stuck doing. What can we do to be adaptable on the go? Like Brenda just said, we've got to be agile and pivot. We've got to get back to the consumer is the one that we're advocating for and we're serving here. Yes, we're business owners. Yes, we're entrepreneurs, but we do have to be agile in these moments right now. And so I think it's a great opportunity for us to completely strip ourselves down. And I'm talking marketing too, folks. I'm not saying that closing emails are not okay or closing social media posts are not okay, but that if that is the only marketing that you are doing to your sphere of influence on social media is, look what I can do. I closed another home. You're falling on your face as far as what you're trying to accomplish. Yes, people need to know that you're in production, that you're still doing real estate, that you are a professional. But the consumer doesn't care about somebody else they don't know buying a house. You need to figure out what you can do to grab the attention of the person that you want to work with and that wants to work with you. And those are the things that we need to start reverse engineering again. Russell, leave us with a couple of things, a final footnote, anything else to impart wisdom, whether it's from the association side or the real estate side. No holds barred.
Okay, so I'm going to go down this road and tell you guys something you probably already know, but our MLS is under attack. There are things that are happening in this world right now with the Department of Justice and with clear cooperation and things like that, that we really need to be aware of. We need to make sure that that we are helping each other, that we're cooperating with each other, that we understand the value of what we get belonging to an association and paying for our MLS, and we need to protect our data. You know, that's the thing. Data is very, very important. And I'm going to tell you something that I probably can get out there, but and maybe if I can't, you guys are the first ones to hear and don't say anything about this. But every session we talk about sales price disclosure. Sales price disclosure for Texas realtors is getting harder and harder to protect because there are entities out there that need that data to do their job. And I'm talking about the comptroller's office, the appraiser's office. If that's all that we have for value is to be able to keep Texas as a non-disclosure state, we really have to reevaluate what we're doing, because I'm just seeing on the horizon that there are attacks coming about that part of our data too. You know, and everybody says, well, I'm a realtor because I have that data and you can't get it anywhere else. Let's be honest, you guys, you can get that data anywhere. And some of us are even entering it in a website so that that other people have it. So, you know, we've got to think about what we're doing. And MLS is under attack. MLS is one of those things that we have to protect. But there's another reason for MLS, and that's so that we can work together as realtors. So let's think about our value. Let's think about what we can add to the transaction. Let's think about who we are as an industry and a profession and really elevate it for people, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for what they can get from their professional that they hire to represent them. You know, like I said earlier, this is one of the largest transactions that people do in their life. And they want to make sure that we know what we're doing, that we work together, that we get that thing across the finish line, that there's very little stress, there are no pain points. That is what we do, and that's our value, and that's what we have to be able to eloquently say anytime somebody asks us. So with that, I'm going to go install the president of South Padre Island right now, and I will see you guys back in Dallas at some point. I promise I'll be out there some point.
We look forward to it, Russell. Thank you again, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. See you later.
All right, Brenda. So I'm going to give you the same. Anything, nothing's off topic at this point. What is something that you want to leave us with today?
So today, as we're entering the end of the year, and if someone's watching this, you know, a few months down the road at the beginning of the year, I think we touched on marketing, and I think we need to be very, very aware of the marketing we're doing. And I'm not talking about following the rules. I'm really talking about being authentic, being true to who you are, and recognizing who your client is. As an example, or as two examples, recipe postcards. I kind of like them. They've been around forever and ever, but if you are someone who hates to cook, that's not the marketing avenue for you. So be authentic to who you are, because at some point your clients are watching you on social media. So make sure your social media is updated, it's correct, and it's good for your clients to see. That means it's going to be positive and more generic than maybe as authentic as troublesome things happen in your life. But be authentic to who you are, automate what you can, and use the things that are true to who you are. And this is the perfect time of the year to really evaluate that. The other example I would say is think of who you're sending it to. If you send my mom an email, it's never going to be read. So your marketing effort just got nil. So think of who you're sending it to, who your audience is, and how they are going to best receive it, and what delivery. The other thing I want to say about TRLP, in a totally different topic, the initial group day, the team building day, that was a day for me that stood out, because I went into doing ropes course with total strangers. And I'm a strong, independent woman. I always have been. That's no surprise to anyone who knows me. But going into that and having to rely upon total strangers to help me get through that web, the spider web. And those of you who've done it know exactly what I'm talking about. And trusting and relying, and then going over the wall, trusting and relying upon the help and the teamwork of total strangers to together accomplish goals was truly life-changing for me. So that's one thing that I would say is remember that we are in a way, we're all in this together. So helping your fellow agent, your fellow industry member, it's good for all of us. What's good for the industry is good for all of us.
Amen to that, Brenda. And two things came out of that. One is maybe we need a TRLP alumni ropes course day where everybody can sit there and sign up if they want to. We could have cheerleaders and participants. But I think that, that's the great equalizer and unifier, I think, for everybody, whether you love heights or you hated heights, and going through all of that, everybody came together after that day. And it's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to advocate for that. Let's figure that out.
I like it. Yes, let's do it.
Christine Burke said, let's do it. So I think let's make that a goal for 2022 for TRLP. And Brenda, I agree. All of you guys, we're all in it together, and there's enough business for all of us. And so I love to be able to help and encourage and help people put more tools in their toolkit as well. And I know, Brenda, you as a manager and a trainer doing all of that, that gives us joy to see somebody implement something into their business that works. Is awesome. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of apps that I think anybody with a different level of proficiency in technology can implement right now. Number one, beyond having Gmail, if everything else went away, if I still had BombBomb, I would survive. That is literally the best tool that I use in my real estate business, hands down. And if you guys don't know what that is, it is an email integration app you can use it on your phone. It can actually integrate right into your Gmail and other systems. But like you were talking about, sending an email to your mom, she might not ever open it. But guess what? If I send an email to your mom and I have the information in there, but she also sees me saying the same information in a video going, hey, Brenda's mom, and I'm sitting there at the top of it, I've got a much better chance that she's at least going to either play my video or read what's in the body of the email. And so if nothing else, try to find one new platform. It doesn't have to be a big, robust one. It doesn't have to overhaul all your systems, but find a technology app that maybe will make your life easier this year. BombBomb's my favorite. Brenda, do you have one that you really like?
I use BombBomb also, so I would say I like that. I love our title companies, your favorite title company, the apps that allow us to do some marketing and some net sheets on the run, because then you're sitting right in front of that client to be able to say, well, if we do this, or if we change the price to this, if we do that. And right now we're looking at changing prices because of the competition for those listings. So it helps you to immediately tell them what increasing their offer price of $10,000 or $15,000 does from a payment standpoint. And I would say that would be a great thing to have on your phone immediately.
Awesome. So we're going to leave you guys with, we're going to try to put an alumni day together, maybe ropes course or something else. So goal for 2022, check out BombBomb, get with your favorite title rep. That would be their Palm Agent. I think app, and Brenda's absolutely right. That's a great tool on the go for us to be able to set those proper expectations. But ultimately, you guys are all here because you love TRLP, or maybe you're itching to join TRLP yourself. But what a great opportunity to talk to you, Brenda and Russell, today. We appreciate you guys taking out your time. And of course, if you ever have any questions, I know I can speak for Brenda, myself, and Russell. Feel free to reach out. And we hope you guys have a blessed rest of December and holiday. Thank you, Jennifer, as well. And we will see you guys very soon.